On camera, she laughed while she badgered her staff. And so all good things must end. And also the Ellen DeGeneres show. Yes, the 83-year-old entertainer just announced that the upcoming 19th season of her show will be its last. Apparently, she created a workplace more toxic than an Amazon warehouse in Chernobyl. Countless allegations surfaced last summer that the show's work environment was rife with harassment and discrimination. Following those charges, Ellen's ratings dropped faster than Kevin Spacey's pants at a boy band pool party.
Ellen DeGeneres always said, "Be kind." But now MegynKelly and GregGutfeld are saying, "Be ready," as they tear apart her clean image like it's a clearance sale at Bed Bath & Beyond. Forget the dancing and cheesy jokes, because this story is juicier than a Real Housewives reunion with wine flying everywhere. People are now asking what Ellen really did, why Hollywood insiders have suddenly gone quiet, and how Greg got pulled into the drama. Stick around, because this rabbit hole is full of sequins, secrets, and shocking twists.
It led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person. And all these staffers started to come out, not for nothing, but I know a guy, I know him very well, whose sister worked for her, who said, you were not allowed to make eye contact with Ellen in the halls of that show. If you saw her, this is not a nice person. So she eventually got canceled, but now she's coming back. She's got a Netflix special. That's the right response.
Once upon a time in the glittery world of Hollywood, where publicists run wild and egos are bigger than Marvel movie budgets, there ruled a queen with a pixie haircut and a sparkling smile. She danced, she hugged, and handed out giant checks like a sneaker-wearing Oprah. Known to all as Ellen DeGeneres, the Queen of Kindness, or at least that's what everyone believed on the surface.
It was just the excuse. She is, Emily, I watched her comedy special. It was like a huge pity party. It was about how she was lamenting how her reputation has suffered. She's essentially as popular as a pit bull with monkeypox. But she's putting this on Trump. Do you think that she's going to be, just everybody's going to love her in England?
Behind the scenes, let's just say if Willy Wonka ran his chocolate factory like Ellen ran her show, the Oompa Loompa would have unionized by season 3. For years, Ellen kept up an image so spotless you could serve dinner on it, with a brand that felt like sunshine wrapped in rainbows and topped with dairy-free whipped cream. But behind that bright smile was an empire of kindness slowly falling apart, with crew members in headsets quietly crying in green rooms and avoiding eye contact like they were in a dodgeball match at a therapy clinic.
A question for you on this. This is perfect for you, because I'm seeing this week that there is an attempted comeback by somebody who did not cross one of those fateful lines of the misstepping on their sacred cows of gender or race or sexuality.
Yeah.
But she was said to be a nasty biatch, and that's Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
So her show got canceled after she had this testy exchange with Dakota Johnson, where something happened where Dakota said, "Oh, I had this birthday party," and Ellen said, "Well, why didn't you invite me? You didn't invite me." And she said, "No, I did invite you, Ellen. That's not what happened." And Ellen had blown her off and then tried to play the victim on the set with her. Anyway, it led to article after article of people being like, Ellen's a bitch. Ellen is a nasty person.
Then came MegynKelly. If Ellen was the queen of feel-good, Megyn was the truth-teller in a leather jacket, smashing through Hollywood's polished image with a verbal bulldozer, flipping the kindness couch and asking who left all the toxic mess underneath. She didn't just enter the story, she kicked the door down with confidence and a stack of receipts, or at least a never-ending supply of strong opinions. And while many tried to dismiss the Ellen controversy as just another wild moment from 2020, Megyn walked straight into the chaos and lit a match.
Story. So Ellen and her wife, Portia, have left their millionaire haven of Montecito for England. Now, they're saying they'll never come back in the wake of Trump's win. Do you think that's the reason why she's leaving?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, Ellen got canceled for real a few years ago from just being a jerk.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like a single comment she said or something she did, just lots of people saying that working for her was a living nightmare and that she's a jerk.
The real issue, MegynKelly pointed out, wasn't just that Ellen might have made interns cry. It was that no one in the media seemed shocked or even willing to talk about it. Megyn, always sharp and direct, asked the tough question that made Hollywood squirm. If a conservative woman had even a small part of the complaints Ellen faced, would she still be hosting a show or just answering questions in court? She didn't stop with Ellen. Megyn zoomed out and exposed what she saw as Hollywood's entire protection system, where the red carpet doubles as a giant excuse mat, letting celebrities with the right views scrub their image clean before appearing on talk shows. To Megyn, Ellen's downfall wasn't a sad surprise. It was a long overdue wake-up call, because the whole "be kind" slogan didn't line up with the emotional damage happening behind the scenes. And while Ellen's brand wasn't just being attacked, it was being audited. Megyn brought the calculator, and then came GregGutfeld, the guy who seems like he teaches sarcasm in a secret bunker while sipping Red Bull from a crazy straw. If Megyn played the role of prosecutor, Gutfeld was the comic roasting Ellen at her own trial.
I think also to admit your mistakes.
Of all people on earth to be feeling sorry for herself, Ellen DeGeneres should not be on the list.
She should at least, but make a real apology and do it.
There's no apology. It's just woe is me. I was run out of Hollywood as she speaks from this grandiose stage on Netflix. Hello, you haven't been canceled if you are doing a Netflix special. She got $20 million for the one before this. I'm sure she.
GregGutfeld didn't come at Ellen with gentle critique. He came with a chainsaw, not out of hate, but because mocking Hollywood's double standards is basically his full-time job. He looked at the Ellen drama and asked the blunt question. When did "be kind" start to mean running a workplace that felt like a mix between a boot camp and a yoga studio run by Satan's intern? If kindness was a mask, Ellen's had more layers than a Kardashian wedding cake, and Gutfeld wasn't just teasing. He was throwing a full roast. To him, Ellen wasn't a sweet talk show host but a glitchy Disney animatronic, grinning on cue while everyone backstage tiptoed around her like she was a blender in disguise. While MegynKelly dissected the silence around the scandal, Greg lit it up with satire, joking about an Ellen spinoff where staff wear helmets, only communicate through post-it notes, and dancing gets swapped for HR training. He didn't see a kind queen brought down by gossip. He saw a celeb who built a fake friendly empire over a lava pit of, "Don't you dare look at me."
Ellen told the Today Show, home of Matt Lauer, that the bad press actually had nothing to do with her decision. Right, and the Titanic didn't hit an iceberg. It chose to sink.
If it was why I was quitting, I would have not come back this year. I really did think about not coming back because it did, it was devastating. I am a kind person. I am a person who likes to make people happy.
No, the real reason, she says, is it was just too easy. Telling the Hollywood Reporter, quote, "When you're a creative person, you constantly need to be challenged. And as great as this show is, and as fun as it is, it's just not a challenge anymore." Well, if that's true, here's an idea. When your viewership is down 43%, why not consider that the challenge?
What made this double takedown so explosive wasn't just who they targeted. It was how they did it. MegynKelly came in sharp and focused, using her journalistic scalpel to slice through the media's glowing treatment of Ellen, as if Ellen were a money-making rescue kitten the press refused to question, while GregGutfeld arrived with a flamethrower and a smirk, torching the hypocrisy with jokes so savage they practically needed subtitles. Megyn exposed how identity and fame let some stars dodge consequences while others get dragged, and Greg wondered why no one had made a dark comedy about Ellen's green room, probably because HBO thought it was too bleak. Meanwhile, Hollywood suddenly went quiet. The same celebs who once cheered at Ellen's every cheesy joke now acted like they'd forgotten how to post, with a few tossing out half-hearted Instagram statements that sounded more like NDA reminders than real support, as Ellen quietly exited the spotlight, left with fewer friends than a sitcom in its third reboot. Megyn kept pressing, pointing out how the media treated Ellen's apologies like sacred texts, while ignoring how polished and focused group they really were. More PR script than true remorse.
Let her back in, Rob, because she's a lesbian, she's a leftist, and she didn't hit one of their sacred cows. Nastiness, that's their bread and butter.
Well, I think everyone, I will say, like, the resentment, I think everyone should have a chance for reconciliation. I don't think Jesus exempted anybody. And so I do, while it does, because I have been allowed back in, but I don't hold any grievance and resentment. It's very important. And I would just say for Ellen, the resentment, you have to know, you have to get over resentment to whatever addiction or addictive qualities happen. To get over it, you have to deal with resentment and address it. And then otherwise you're going to fall back into the same path.
She asked a powerful question. Why do we excuse bad behavior just because someone makes us feel good? That was Ellen's real trick, convincing America that smiling at famous guests made her some kind of moral icon. While behind the scenes, her team allegedly held monthly meetings called How to Avoid Eye Contact and Still Get Paid. GregGutfeld didn't hold back either. He turned Ellen's downfall into comedy gold, joking that her farewell season felt like a hostage video shot on a pastel set with fake plants and even faker goodwill, like a retirement party no one wanted to attend. But let's be clear, Megyn and Greg weren't just bored and picking on Ellen. They hit a nerve because their criticism pointed to something bigger. How easily we let celebrities off the hook if they align with our beliefs or keep us entertained. Ellen wasn't some rare case. She was just a well-lit version of a bigger problem. Megyn's main point was blunt. This isn't about canceling Ellen. It's about ending the idea that media accountability only matters for people without a shiny IMDb page. She wasn't mad that Ellen existed. She was angry that the system protected her while the people behind the scenes paid the real price.
Well, that's my time. Later, Marks, I'm out.
Yeah.
And then just leave them behind to go.
Yeah, they don't have the choice. They must stay in the hell of Trump. We're out of here. By the way, Walter.
I think we could let the illegal aliens stay if we get enough of Hollywood to self-deport.
Yes. I will take 1,000.
You know? Exactly.
I'll take 1,000 Venezuelan migrants for one share.
Exactly.
Hollywood has turned into a strange zoo where bad behavior gets a free pass if it comes with the right hashtag, and Ellen, for all her dance moves and Oscar selfies, was just the zookeeper who left the gate open. When MegynKelly and GregGutfeld, two people who rarely agree on anything, end up on the same page, you know something big is going on, or Ellen really lit a match under her own empire. These two don't usually breathe the same air, let alone join forces, but somehow Ellen's pastel-wrapped kindness cult brought them together. Megyn came in like a determined lawyer, complete with a folder of receipts asking tough questions. Who protected Ellen, who looked away? And who decided that dancing and free blenders gave you a pass to emotionally wreck your team? For Megyn, this wasn't cancel culture. It was justice finally catching up to the double standard Hollywood's been selling for years. Because let's face it, if a regular boss bullied employees, they'd get fired. But when Ellen did it, she got an Emmy and a gift basket from Apple.
If Trump is truly responsible for Ellen's exodus, shouldn't that go down as his greatest achievement in the last 8? I mean, he should get the Nobel Prize.
He's literally going to have a who's who of left. I mean, the entire 80s music catalog is gone. You got Springsteen, Cher, Madonna. I just don't know why they keep showing pictures of Aaron Rodgers with blonde hair.
Meanwhile, GregGutfeld tackled the whole situation like a sneaky raccoon with a microphone. Snarky, uninvited, and ready to dig through the mess. While Megyn was delivering sharp accusations, Greg was roasting marshmallows over the ashes of Ellen's career, more amused by the absurdity than focused on justice. He pointed out the irony of a billionaire talk show host who built her brand on Be Kind, but supposedly created such a fearful workplace that even her security team needed therapy puppies. When you mix Megyn's precise critique with Greg's fiery humor, you get a full no-holds-barred breakdown of Ellen's downfall. Then came the apology, a true masterclass in non-apology. Ellen delivered it like a hostage reading a ransom note off a cue card. With all the sincerity of a pop-up ad, her words were full of passive voice and empty regret. If I made anyone feel, is basically a magician saying, if you thought I cut off your arm, that's on you. Megyn wasn't fooled and called it a desperate PR stunt full of denial and smugness, while Greg compared it to a bad SNL sketch, joking that Ellen seemed confused whether she was apologizing or accepting an Oscar. The internet agreed, turning Twitter into a roast zone, Reddit dragging her like a broken Roomba, and even Facebook antis raising eyebrows. Fans who once danced along with her now side-eyed every move like watching a toddler hiding chocolate on their face. People didn't just stop believing Ellen, they started doubting every smile. Then came the end. The talk show wrapped up in 2022, not with a bang but a soft sigh. Ratings flatlined, fanfare vanished, guests quietly stopped showing up, and the only ones truly missing her were the teleprompters, longing for someone to read them with fake enthusiasm again. Ellen, once the queen of daytime TV, quietly slipped away with her designer sneakers and paycheck intact but without the shining halo she once wore. Meanwhile, MegynKelly found new life after leaving network TV. turning to podcasts and building a media empire with millions who preferred blunt honesty over celebrity fluff. People aren't interested in fake niceness anymore. They want the raw, sometimes uncomfortable and often funny truth. GregGutfeld, the late-night rebel with a smirk, outshined traditional hosts with jokes about soy milk and elite meltdowns. His show, Gutfeld, became a ratings hit, proving sarcasm mixed with common sense and Hollywood skepticism is exactly what viewers crave. This marks a shift from polished smiles to authentic voices that embrace imperfection. Ellen's fame was built on illusion, but illusions fade. In today's world, fans want receipts, realness, and maybe a little ego roasting on the side. Megyn's final point? Ellen's real skill was selling kindness as a brand and hoping no one checked the expiration date. When Ellen left after 19 seasons, it wasn't dramatic. It was like a slow leak from a balloon, fading away with awkward moves and a quiet goodbye. Megyn moved on with new cultural critiques on her podcast. Greg kept roasting anyone who took influencers seriously, and Ellen is probably in a Malibu mansion wondering which staffer she can still legally text. What did we learn? Nice slogans mean nothing without real action. Dancing on TV doesn't excuse bad behavior. And if Megyn has a media microscope and Greg a sarcasm Molotov cocktail, you might want to rethink your afternoon taping and check your HR file. Because in Hollywood, the scariest thing isn't bad press. It's when the crowd stops clapping and starts paying attention.